Bam, zippity pop, pow. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I'll be your host and game master for this episode 169 of Brise's Tale. And my good buddy Max is here, as always, to play the beautiful and talented paladin Brise. Max, why don't you say hello to the lovely people?
Hello, everybody. Get your obligatory 169 joke coming in.
That's right.
All right. Done? Okay.
I actually grew up next to a road that was called the 169. But
oh, man.
Yeah, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be another information kind of session. Brise is sort of taking it easy, taking a much needed rest.
Brise is tired.
Yes, yes. We had a couple sessions back. We had a very touch and go session, dodging giants on a mountain that were trying to find her and her colleague, Sheercall. She was a lizard woman and magic user adventurer. But now Brise is back. Brise and Sheercall have found rest at Lady Miagraw's keep. Sheercall was on the same mountain on different business regarding the giants when Brise came across her. Brise was trying to discover why there'd been a meeting between two clans of giants in the last couple of weeks. And we got some information about that. But then the giants discovered their presence on the mountain and they played hide and seek quite a bit on the rugged terrain north of Lady Miagraw's keep. Northeast, I should say. But they escaped and are now just recuperating back at the keep and trying to figure out what their next steps are. We know that the giants have goblin slaves working for them in their mines, and the odds of being able to free 24 slaves in such a tightly guarded facility seems remote, and it may be some months down the line before a reasonable plan can be made to try to save those poor souls. And so that turns us to other matters, including just trying to rest from such a harrowing escape. And so Brise has sort of multiple loose ends that she's going to be trying to get information on. And so if you've not watched the stream before, you're going to get caught up on a lot of threads of the tale. It's been a while since I've actually talked about this in Karandrin, about the nature of Karandrin. So I think I'll bring it up now. And that is, we don't really do quests. We don't really do campaigns. I've always found those very artificial and off-putting. We play day to day, and you follow storylines. You just follow objectives that you want to complete. There's not a quest. I don't think people would think that way. I think that's an artificial notion of the highly romanticized view of knights that we have, especially given that
there's nothing romantic about Karandrin.
No, it's all pretty gritty and scary, and we try to make it as organic and realistic as possible. But so there's several. It's funny. I was just looking at Quinn had posted.
Yeah, we're still getting the cutoff. We need to start an intro screen. We can come up with that.
Yeah, surely.
Hit intro. We'd make sure we're live, and then we switch to our view. So
that's
crazy. Yeah, figure that out.
Quinn, that's
episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, Quinn, that's why I do the scat at the beginning, because actually even prior to that, that's why we switched platforms, because the platform was cutting us off after the 5-second countdown. Like we literally, when I launch, Quinn, I get a 5-second countdown on my screen, it goes off, and we were getting cut off. So then I started doing scat to fill some time and be silly. That's crazy that even with all that, we're still getting cut off. Wow. Well, thanks for letting us know, Quinn, because
Maybe we need to switch genres and start doing ska instead. From scat to ska.
Entire operas at the beginning, I will play all parts. And after a 2-hour opera, then I we'll do 15 minutes of role playing because I'll be exhausted by that time. And that will be our stream. Well, thanks for letting us know, Quinn. We will, I guess maybe we will. We'll ask Obi-Wan to see if she can set us up maybe an intro screen, and let it fill time. It's so weird. I don't know why both platforms keep cutting us off like that. That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for letting us know, Quinn. We'll look into that and see if we can fix it. We didn't realize there was a problem that was still plaguing us. God knows we don't need me scatting longer, so.
He actually scats for like a whole minute before he goes live, and I have to sit here and listen to it. Would you hear the last like 5 seconds?
That's right. It's we're not getting cut off. We don't use mics. That's funny, Quinn. Yeah, YouTube's gonna censor us for using the word scat. Is that scat S-K-A-T? I've never looked into that.
Yeah, it's the same exact spelling.
Is it?
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the storyline. So we just have multiple threads from just contacts in the world as we've been playing over these past several years, so we're going to be sort of picking up on some of those threads as information is coming in. Mm-hmm. We always have several irons in the fire in this game until Brise loses interest in them or feels like they're settled. Right. Until one of those threads wraps around Brise's throat and just strangles her out. So, which makes me want to make, was it Wilson? Remember the Monty Python sketch about Wilson's stringettes? Did you ever see that or hear that?
That one doesn't ring a bell.
It's so fantastic. It's so funny. It's a guy coming to a marketing firm, and he says, I have recently inherited 100,000 miles of string that, due to mismanagement, has been cut into 6-inch lengths. And I wish to sell it. And so, I'm wondering how we can market it. And so John Cleese is the marketeer, and he's like, Wilson's pest control stringettes. I can see it now. He goes, pest control? What are you talking about? He goes, if it's bigger than if it's smaller than a mouse, you flog them to death with it. And if it's larger than a mouse, you just strangle them. He just goes on flood stopping stringettes. He goes, flood stopping? He goes, yes, they absorb water, don't they? It's just so. John Cleese is at his height in that sketch.
They just do anything and make it funny. It's really the original. Like, let's just take that as far as we can go. Yeah.
It was. I gotta find that. I haven't heard that in a long time. So great. And he gets carried away further and further. John Cleese his ideas are just rolling, and they're more and more ridiculous. And the client is getting more and more distraught. So I need to find that. Wilson's stringettes. I need to look that up again. So anyway, remind me what time of day. That's something I should have asked you before we started the stream. What time of day?
Early afternoon.
Early afternoon.
My quarters in the keep.
So we talked about you actually had a meeting that you had scheduled with somebody called Ivar. Why don't you remind us who Ivar is and your decision regarding them?
Yeah. So Ivar, well, long time back, there's a demon lord known as Kralum, who I helped to banish back to his domain. But he has been spotted again making inroads into this world, primarily through a friend of Miagral's, named Ordia. And Ordia is lived in an estate, not like kind of on the outskirts of the county, and found out was basically borrowing Kralum's power to cause. Really wasn't sure what their aim was. I guess we kind of foiled their plan before it really rolled into motion. But yeah, we did end up driving away Ordia, seizing her estate, and
with help of the temples. Yeah.
Right. Help from the temples, banishing, whatever resources they had. But we have spotted a man named Ivar, has been asking around information about me specifically and about Miagral's keep, and found out through some eavesdropping that Ivar is associated with Ordia's old staff. So Ordia's staff has been spotted around town, kind of gathering information, potentially seeking out info on me, which could mean Kralum's trying to pursue a similar kind of route to what he was before, or maybe this is just Ordia trying to get some revenge. We don't know. So we do have a meeting set up with him on tonight at one of the adventuring guilds in town. However, we find out that he's pretty low on the food chain compared to, again, we know that he's just reporting to Ordia's staff. He's not affiliated with her at all. So might be an opportunity to find someone else that's higher up that we could either charm or pursue back to some base to find out more info on what's happening in Balabry.
So do you think you are going to go into town but not do the meeting, but lay in wait for Ivar?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is just wait it out for him to eventually report back to his superior, and then we can try to track down whoever he's serving.
Right. Okay. Do you wish to see if Sheercall would lend you a hand in that, or do you feel like, no, you don't want to get her entangled in that business?
No, I don't want to get entangled. Yeah, if this does go back to Kralum, that is something really, really risky.
Yeah.
I've already killed enough wizards by entangling them in this business. So
yeah, it's man, those were dangerous days. Man, that was some fun stuff. If any new viewer, you got to hop back and watch some of those streams back in the gosh, I
want to say like episode 80.
Yeah.
70, 80 time frame.
Yeah. There were some really interesting things going on there with trying to balance these secrets, trying to balance sort of being played between two very powerful individuals,
That's the other thing we need to do is have AI. Remember, we tried to summarize one of the videos.
Yeah.
Revisit that, see if the models have improved. And
yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
For each of these 169 episodes.
Yeah, I'll get Josh on that. He loves using that AI stuff. So yeah.
We're starting to use it at work now too. It's everywhere and it's very productized now. So you can, a lot of different flavors to try.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So it's early afternoon on the 21st. You've been taking it easy. What's first on your list?
I don't know. I would like to meet with Fraldrum. She came by in the morning, right? And I missed her, so I don't know if we arranged time for her to come back. So I stay in my quarters. I don't have in my notes that we discussed that.
Right. No, I don't think because she didn't leave you a note. She just trusted Sheercall would let you know that she had stopped by. So you could send a runner for her to see if she's available. And you also, you also wanted to follow up with Kepik, the court priest,
right,
to find out what information was gotten from the meeting with the priest of that tiny village. Because we know that for any new viewers that there's a tiny village in the valley to the north called Pelka, and that village has been infiltrated by a pair of necromancers who are basically posing as administrators of the town, and they have enough wealth from their operations, of course, that they can ingratiate themselves with the whole town. But we know that they have other plans going on and have brought significant undead forces to bear on that valley. And that is an uncomfortable position to be in. So, for Meagral. So what's your first order of business?
Yeah, let's send Fraldrum a note saying would like to meet just to go over updates, and then I'll just anytime today should be fine before the evening if she's available, and then I will go to the temple on the premises and go talk to Kepik, or see if I can at least talk with him.
So, so you head to the temple. The castle is still sort of on alert, scanning the skies for great eagles. Goblins despise great eagles. They consider them a bad omen and will hunt them actively. We knew there was one in the sky because they were looking for you to communicate with you.
I'm supposed to be meeting them tonight as well at sundown.
Well, you have a lot going on.
I know, man. Tell me about it.
So
manager in role playing.
You need a spell called Zoom meeting, and that way you can just get all this done in one meeting. And
why don't you say that? I'd rather not, actually.
Oh my gosh! So
we're already meeting virtually, and then I have a virtual meeting in the.
That's right. I guess we should announce, somewhat off topic, but we should announce that we're going to have another player joining us in the next handful of weeks once we can get that sorted out. But Obi-Wan Karen is going to be joining us on the stream just as soon as we can sort of get their characters organically together in the same geographic space
and temporal space.
Yes. So Obi-Wan and I have some work to do there. We've got to do some role playing off screen to mesh all that together. And Obi-Wan, we drafted you. Don't you recall? I sent you a draft notice in the mail. And by that, I mean, I rolled over in bed and handed you a piece of paper. Is it all? None of that coming back to you? So that's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to see Obi-Wan, and she's a longtime role player, been out of the game for a little bit, but so
we'll have to figure out a new screen configuration.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll accommodate. I assume it's going to shrink us down, you and I, and she'll be in our column like we,
No, we should be bigger.
That's right. Maybe we'll take away the Karandrin art over here, and we'll do we'll just have her be the main face right there and just totally embarrass her. So,
like jury duty, but someone even worse. Yes.
Yeah.
That's like what Karandrin is. Weekly jury.
this is what the original summoners do in medieval fantasy worlds. They said jury summons. That's what they did. They were summoners. But yeah, so Obi-Wan and Karen will be joining us as soon as we can get that all together. We have to buy her some equipment as well. That's right. Yeah, we'll have like 8 players going, and you guys will stress the shit out of me.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah. So anyway, so there's just a little announcement. You head to the court to see if you can meet Kepik. Like I said, the castle does seem to still be on alert. A soldier runs up to you. Calling your name. You turn. You're still within the main courtyard. You can still see the main gate, and comes up to you, slightly breathless, and I thought you were going to say, buy her a hat. And he says, I'm drawing a blank here. Lady Brise, a visitor has asked for you at the front gate. We didn't know whether or not to admit them, but they sent this card and hands you basically a calling card, a thicker stock piece of paper. And said that the gentleman says this is who they represent. And so you take the card, I assume.
Yeah.
And it's a black O with silver legs at the bottom of the O. Like little, almost like spider legs.
Yeah. Oh, chakra. Okay. I guess I'll go meet him then. That's never good news when you want to meet Oshekra the wizard or someone representing him.
It's gonna be fine,
I was saying, I'm like, oh, should I prepare? It's like there's nothing I can really do. Like this guy is. I wonder what he'd want though. Hopefully not something to do with Verilag. So yeah, I will accompany them back to the front gate if they're going back there.
Let me drop this information into the database. So yeah, you head back that way, and there's let's see, we're human male, average appearance, fat, average height. He's what the heck is weird? I don't see that on there. Maybe I missed copying it. He's dressed in very poor clothing, tattered and so on. He has stubble, has average length, strawberry blonde hair, and seems to be middle-aged. As you approach, he bows to you, and introduces himself as Baranth, Burranth.
Baranth.
He says that his employer has sent him with an offer for you, and hopes that there is an opportunity to meet sometime in the next couple of days. Let's do, because I'm bad. I'm forgetful about this. Let's do your gut feeling.
Yes. Okay. 77.
You can tell that he's your gut feeling is opportunist. Relatively harmless, although obviously if it comes down between you and Oshekra,
right,
he's going to go with Oshekra, even if that means, harm to you.
Right.
He is self-serving. Something I have thought that would be interesting for us to add to the game is when you have a familiar, it'd be interesting to get the familiar's impression of the person, especially when it's like a cat and a dog, like birds, less attuned to humans and things like that. Yeah. But especially if it's a cat or a dog. So Azrael is sort of unimpressed, is the impression you get.
Okay.
From him. Azrael being your orange tabby.
That should just be his impression of every person I meet.
That's right. Being a cat. That's hilarious. That would be so funny.
Until they feed him, and then he's like, "Oh, this person's great. Trust them."
That's right.
Okay. So I say to Baranth that I am. What I wanted to say is I'm no longer doing business with your employer, and that I have no interest in working with him, because I know that last time I did, I don't know if I can trust myself around him because I let some information slip.
Do you want to walk off into the courtyard to get some away from the guards before you have this conversation?
Yeah. So I can let's walk and chat for a bit.
Yeah. So yes, you guys sort of go to the middle of the courtyard where you will be less overheard, and you sort of turn him down. Surely it won't harm you to hear him out, or hear me out, I should say, because Oshekra not coming.
Oshekra just appears.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is an opportunity for exploration and adventure. And my understanding is that those are your business, young lady. And may I say, he did not do your beauty justice. You are quite a lovely creature.
Oh my God. Don't waste your tongue. Tell me what he has done with the prison. And if you tell me that, maybe I'll listen to this offer.
Roll for me.
You might not even know, but that's a 9.
He says, I know of no prison. I usually meet him in one of the goblin cities. Gorb mostly is where I find myself, and I simply run errands for him as he asks. But I know of no prison. I know his home is somewhere in the north, but from what I hear, it's quite comfortable. Now, I would hardly call it a prison. You do not believe him. You think he does know exactly what you're talking about, but isn't going to overplay his hand.
Right. Okay. I ask him to tell me, so I will at least get information out of him, right? So, what is this task he's asking of me?
South of Convergence, there is a ancient ruin set among the trees, I'm told. A series of strange platforms and residences well above the forest floor. He seeks there books that would be illegible to you and I, but are of great value to him, as well as apparently a particular vine that was supposed to be cultivated in this strange community called Blue Vein, so named because of the blue veins that run through the plant. Any sign of those, if you could bring a sample back of that, would be greatly appreciated.
Called Blue Vein.
I have a rough location.
Okay.
Back in my inn, maps, marking it. I'm also authorized to give you a certain amount of gold that you and I could negotiate. Got a gnat in here.
Have I heard of Blue Vein before?
Roll for me.
84.
Yes. But not in great detail. Used in not herbology, but it's involved somehow in the creation of wands, rods, and staves.
Okay.
So spell, we call that broadly, in the term I've come up with, those types of items used by spellcasters, spellcasting aid, is
Right.
they augment your ability to cast spells and reduce your chances of screwing up a spell. You're right, Obi-Wan. Sorry, I just saw your text. I was working on the database. Yeah, Obi-Wan, we'll have to get you a hat for the milestone streams. That'll be fun.
Oh, that makes it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other night, Obi-Wan. I was trying to think what to get you. I think it'd be funny if you did a Robin Hood hat like Max, and then it's like you guys are my merry men, right? And you know what I mean? It's just
Or
I
the
don't
Three
know.
Musketeers. That may go into.
But purely from a romantic standpoint, I just thought you'd be cute in it. So, honestly, because I'm more attracted to Max when he wears his. So,
The role play continues after the stream.
speaking of rods, so the role play continues after the stream. It's so good.
Does this guy seem like there's an actual adventure here, or is he trying to get me to come to his inn for some other purpose?
It's hard to believe that someone would know about Oshekra. And
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Does Oshekra want me for some other purpose?
oh, I see. I mean,
I don't know how I could infer that, from this conversation, but
I don't
that's
know
my
what.
suspicion, right?
I don't think that you would. I mean, I think if Oshekra wants you, Oshekra's going to get you.
Hey, yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he would simply set a watch out on the keep, and as soon as you're out on an adventure, then you're going to get jumped.
Right.
Or he would bring a much more. He would make an offer you couldn't refuse. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the blue vein, Obi-Wan.
How did we miss that?
I know, right?
Blue vein associated with staffs.
Exactly.
Find the biggest blue vein you can.
Exactly. The throbbing is what irritates me. Why is the staff always warm? Anyway, and riddled with lesions. Anyway,
Staff is oozing.
Oh, God. I have to take my staff to the clinic again. Oh God. Oh man.
All right, let's do some actual role playing. How we 30 minutes.
Before we completely go off the rails here.
Oh.
So
I could see your maps. That's you can do that much.
Well, I have my whole week is cleared for this opportunity, and so I'm staying at one of the local inns. He tells you which one. Who cares which one it is? But I am staying there under my own name. Most evenings, I am in for the whole time. But if there's another time of meeting that would work for you, I am at your beck and call.
I say I will come by in the evening then, sometime this week, if I feel so inclined. Should I demand a meeting with Oshekra? I guess I could do that next time I see him.
It's not, Oshekra, like Frowdrum, there are big things in the fire for Oshekra.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Just to, if he wants me to do this specifically, there might be some sway I can have over him. I guess I'll ask him right now, this guy, Baranth, why me specifically did he seek me out?
I was not given that information, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It has been my experience, however, that it is usually just the nearest contact who fits the bill. I have spoken to many adventurers in my 4 years working for Oshekra, and I usually find myself headed toward an adventurer that is also near the location of the site of interest.
Right.
So I can only infer from that it is the nearest contact that he has that would be interested in the offer.
Again, does it seem like he's truthful about that?
Roll.
93.
Completely.
Okay. Just convenience. So if he doesn't choose me, he might just choose somebody else. So this might actually be an opportunity to learn more about what he's working on.
Right.
Okay.
And now, you can follow up with Fraldrum too and
Right.
ask about, what are the dangers of blue vein? Oshekara's,
Right.
if I find blue vein, should I hand it over? Or should I tell him that there is none? What should I do?
Where should I rub the blue vein?
Exactly. So yeah, so south of Convergence, so not a million miles away, at least.
Right. Okay. I think that's all I had to ask this guy. So I'll add to my notes sometime this week. Come by as in the evening.
Right. I was going to ask you, why are you taking all week to add that to your notes? The way you phrased it was like, I'll add to my notes. Something this week I'll add to my notes that when I talk to this guy.
Welcome to the English language.
Exactly.
Or run-on sentences.
That's right. So,
my job has been so bad for my English. I just have to write so many emails a day and come up with like short. Basically, all my emails are in shorthand.
Yeah,
and it's like sometimes it doesn't even make sense. And the people I write with, English is their second language, and that kind of rubs off on me too. And I'm like, gotta keep up the skills.
Yeah, that's one of my stresses of reading Reddit is, I'm an old book editor, for God's sake. Man, reading Reddit, sometimes I'm just like, oh God, I despair for the American society. Well, not that I guess that the last election didn't make me do that, but
I mean, typing is so fast, right? Like you can afford to type the apostrophe I''M.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, he bows. And he thanks you for your time, and he and his sort of disheveled self take leave, and you see, in fact, he actually has a horse outside the gates being held, and the horse is in much better keep than he is. It's quite a handsome animal with handsome tack and so on. It's just he doesn't care about his personal appearance, but he must be fond of horses because he really has seen to it the horse has gotten the best. And off he rides. So all
right. There's some stuff around here. Interesting little development there.
Yes.
We'll continue on our way to the temple then.
Off you go. Kepik is busy, but you can give him an hour is the word. He will be free.
Okay.
You're welcome, of course, to pray and meditate in the temple.
And I think a little prayer is in order. I'm not underneath a giant's foot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's true. You certainly could give thanks and make an offering to the temple and to your God, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Oxir.
Oxir, that's right. I know it starts with an O. Oshekara is your new God, so, be aware of that. So,
Yeah. I'll just spend the time praying and meditating, and I'll make an offering of 20 gold to the temple.
okay.
It's going to come back to me anyway. I meant to ask. I thought on the 20th is when I get my stipend from the keep.
Oh yeah.
So we just say we took care of that, you know?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I think is that 150? So, no, 250. So there you go. I made profit. I'm up 50.
And you can make it in whatever denominations you want.
Right.
So if you want to just do
actually, I'll ask for 1 mithril and then 150 gold.
Okay.
So that would be 274. Great.
Isn't it crazy? You make 3,000 gold a year, you know?
That's pretty absurd. I don't have to do anything. Well, I guess I have to go eavesdrop on giants every now and then, but otherwise.
It's hazard pay, my friend. It's hazard pay.
Yeah.
The hour passes really quickly. Usually, it would kind of be a stretch for you with your impatience, you know, but you find that it goes very quickly. And you're summoned to Kepic's office. Let me find that priest. I'll make sure she's in the. Let's see if I can find her. Nope. What's the priest's name?
Kepic.
No, sorry.
I had it here. We kept forgetting it. Enucar. Ennucar.
Sorry, I was
typing. Never met her, so I don't think she'll be in the database.
Okay.
Although I do have a description of her.
Give me the name again.
Enucar. Ennucar.
No. She's human, isn't she?
No, a young goblin woman.
Young goblin.
I thought I had a description of her more. It's the tax collector I spoke with. It's not.
There we go. Well, at least I've got her an entry if nothing else.
Right. Their temple in Pelka holds Havlin dearly. That's kind of the only info I got.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, guys.
That's the other. I should just feed all my notes into AI and then tell it, hey, tell me about Enucar or who's the priestess. That might be a really low effort thing to try.
It's really low risk.
The problem is with a lot of AI too is you have to pay for it to process large amounts of information, and I have this like 200 pages of notes. I don't think you'll get that for free with ChatGPT.
That's right. That's right.
Pay Amazon some money to parse my notes.
Amazon crashed. Well, only Karandrin could bring that to pass.
Stress testing the AWS.
That's right. That's right. You may call Kepic up so I can get his behavior down. Again, my database program, its icon is similar to the Mac application icon. So every time it tricks me. Sue, I got you. Yep. It looks like I did miss age on that. It's fine. Um, he's he's waiting for you. He's rather old. Got some height and weight to him. He's a larger goblin, definitely. Um, he rises as you come in. Um, he he guesses that you're there to hear news on the young priestess from Pelka.
Yes.
He offers you a seat. Gestures over at some brandy and wine on a side table.
Please, I'll take a drink.
He pours you a glass of wine.
Brandy wine.
That's right. It's a river. And he begins in his slow, methodical, pausing way of talking. Gives you a rundown of the conversation. So I need a better system of dates. That's interesting because I need to know what happened when in Pelka in relation to his conversation with Inukar.
Sure. Like on this date,
so that we know what she might have witnessed, what it was possible for her to have witnessed. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So he says that he finds her very caring about her village. And he asked sort of surreptitiously, in a very roundabout way about the administrator of the village. I need to add that alias to Volshad's database.
Her magistrate by day, necromancer by night.
That's her. I mean, so the woman magistrate there, she reports her being very generous. A little flamboyant, maybe even with her wealth. Giving trinkets of precious metals where maybe coins for food might be better, or helping the poorest of them. But she certainly does like to talk about her wealth. She certainly enjoys ingratiating herself to that little village. She is uneasy about the elven lord who has been visiting them. Just seems out of place, but apparently they're old friends. He was able to get the name of this elven lord. He goes by the name Lord Forbin. Whoops. Forbin.
Okay.
You want me to do alias? That is a man who has little use for the villagers. Speaks very harshly to them. Struck a beggar in town.
Yeah.
Who clearly saw an opportunity for a few coins. They largely dine alone in the magistrate's office. They're not really being a restaurant in town or a pub. But he does make frequent visits. We have been told he's interested in starting a mine works here. That the mountains, his surveyors say the mountains hold valuable ore. And so Inukar is quite excited, rightly or wrongly, at the opportunity of more prosperity coming to town. Remind me how much Kepik knows about the necromancers, the fact of the necromancers in Pelka. I don't recall.
Oh, that's a good question. I should scroll back. How much I told him.
Wasn't your big throwdown with Kepik and that other gentleman about the fact that you had contact with necromancers? Or was it with contact with demons? Do you remember the big argument you had?
It was that I had been, yes, under the curse of a necromancer. So I informed Kepik to request a summons of the priestess Inukar from Pelka. I go see Kepik to tell him that. I didn't write that. Let me spell his name. Oh, that's why I'm spelling his name in two different ways. I ask him to question. No, it was just questioning Inukar about the magistrate. Nothing specific. We'll go over questions he should ask Inukar. If he learns a lot, he will keep Inukar here in Balabri and loop in others for questioning. I mean, I think I must have mentioned that we think there's necromantic influence, but not specifically that the magistrate is a necromancer. That's all I could say. Yeah, I think it was under the guise of that. We think Pelka is potentially corrupted, right? Like the temple there is being used for evil purposes. It's kind of how we phrased it.
He got no sense of that from her.
Okay.
She seems still very genuine in her desire to serve the community and serve the gods. He asked generally about anything that concerned her,
right?
In any way that his temple could be of help, which is a little meddlesome of his, because really she is not underneath him. She's underneath right. The town, the priest, the temple in town. She has a general sense that something is off. The children over the last several months have had nightmares. Hunters and what are they called? Furriers who go into the hills and the mountains. They report feeling uneasy all day. And she knows that it's well known that there's um, both trolls and ogres in the area. Um, other than losing a sheep or two a year, they've never really troubled the village. But this is something new. Um, just a greater feeling of unease, sort of a more less explicable feeling of unease.
Yeah.
She's not taken this up with the magistrate. It's just, it's a feeling that people have. It's sort of beyond that. And so,
Magistrate, we don't feel good. Here's gold coins.
She is also not brought it up to the temple in town.
Temple in town isn't here in Valerie.
Yes.
Okay.
So she he urged her to do so, though, in the hopes maybe that we could get more information, because certainly to him it felt like there was an evil presence in the area surrounding Pelka, even if it had not influenced the temple yet.
Right.
Or maybe its source is certainly not the temple, but something is amiss. And it would be, beyond his purview to send one of his paladins to explore the area. And so she was going to take that under consideration, and but she's sort of timid to approach her superiors, and so he doesn't know how that's going to shake out.
Right.
You have any questions?
Yeah, just again, did Enukar remember anything unusual about the magistrate or this lord? Any strange conversation they had about anything that stood out to her?
Well, the only thing that she really talked about was that if you have surveyors looking at the mountain, where are they?
Sure.
They would come into town and pay a few coins to stay at somebody's home. But yet supposedly surveys have been taken of several of the mountains. But yet, a stranger is very hard to miss in a tiny town. And while they've been a few strangers who have passed through, none of them were surveyors. People just making conversation with these strangers. They're like, no, I'm passing through, or, I'm looking for arable land because my farm failed. Or, it's clear they had no idea what they were talking about.
Right. One person asked them to do a survey, but it was not a surveyor.
It was a census taker. And so it was, so she's just sort of baffled. I mean, like, why would you stay? I mean, Ballery is so far away. I mean, it's not a full day, right? It's more than half a day.
More than half a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't quite make it back in time unless you really push. And so you're not going to stay there. You'd burn all your time. Sure, you would camp a good deal on the mountains, absolutely, while you do your survey, but you would eventually come to town for supplies or just for a change of pace, and that's never happened. And supposedly 3 of the mountains have been gone over by a surveyor.
Surveyed, yeah.
So that's the oddest thing that she has, in terms of the claims of Lord Forbin.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I had to ask. Definitely not. We didn't really learn too much from that, but at least it's good to know that.
Well, I think
Really, it does seem to be just Volshad and Holver were the only people in on this. The rest of the village does seem to be innocent.
well, I think it's important that you picked up an alias for
That
Holbein.
too. Forbin. Now we can ask about direct questions about him.
Right. To see, where else he's using that alias and then where else he might have his fingers there for.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, is this a good time for a break?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to go refill our drinks and stretch our legs. So if you give us just a few minutes, we'll be right back with you and we'll see what else Karandrin has in store for Brise. So give us just a minute. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Let's get Max back here. There he is. I told you he wouldn't abandon us.
Not today.
Not today. He hasn't learned his lesson yet after 3 years. Yeah.
And as I keep saying, I am held hostage, so I have no choice but to reappear during the break. But no one has sent help yet. Weekly plea.
That's right. Kevin thinks Karandrin is real. Somebody get me out of this. He keeps showing me his blue vein.
Oh my God. He tells me he just wakes up and then starts doing Karandrin. It's crazy.
That's right. He's so pleased when I join him for 2 hours a week. Oh man. So yeah, we got some information on what's going on in the little village of Pelka. See if I have should have looked and see if I had a caption for that. So yeah, we talked to Kepik, and
we did not learn anything about the 9-fingered candle, the powerful artifact Volshad and Holver seem to be after.
Do you need to ask Kepik about that, or
no? I don't know if I wanted to bring that up.
I need to change that spelling. I mean, it's fine if you don't. I'll just
yeah.
Oh, here we go. That's what I should have had. Actually, I need to edit that because now Elbrig is free.
That's right.
This is so weird. So sorry, just drawing a blank there. So we learned that Holver is appearing to in town as Lord Forbin, and that does give you, like as we said, that gives you a handle to ask about. You know, it's not going to be surprising to find that if we find that he uses that alias in other places. It would be particularly interesting if he uses it in the courts of the Pen clans, the desert nation to the east. And it would be particularly interesting if he uses it in the court of that Pen lord that he may be mocking.
Hestus, yeah.
Hestus, yeah. That would be really interesting, you know, flaunt that right under Hestus's nose. So no further questions you can think of. So
I think we'll call it there. I'll say, you know, thank you again for that favor, and I'm glad that at least that the Enukar seems to be caring for her village and for the temple.
This growing sense of unease she has, though, in the area, because it is Lady Miagral's county. You should be aware they could be used against her if something isn't done.
So I say, yeah, because even if we find the 9-fingered candle, who's to say they're going to move base, right? Holver and Volshad. So I say, yeah, there may be high time to indeed to if she's asking for help, to send help and to deal with whatever forces or drive out whatever forces arisen there.
The problem is, of course, that we have no basis on which to act. I would be happy to lead a force there. It would seem as though Lady Meagral were taking charge of the situation and not the temple, which is so critical of her.
Right.
The problem is, if we march there with 20 or 30 paladin and we find nothing, and the magistrate can't be forced to reveal to us her necromantic abilities, and we have nothing.
Just arrest whoever. It's fine. I'm sure they don't belong there anyway.
Well, are you Trump? Is that who you are?
That was what you're about to say. Is like, what a costly endeavor. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll just cut something else.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. It's although Brise does know exactly what they would find.
How do you mean?
Well, I know there are necromancers there, and I know there is powerful undead creatures there. Now, whether or not they find it, right, it could elude them, I suppose. They wouldn't really succeed in driving it off. So he has a point there.
And you have to connect, like let's say you find undead, you have to connect it to individuals in the village.
Sure.
It's like, you know what you call a necromancer in a restaurant? A diner.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
Right. They're just, you have to, we have to pin it on Bullshod, our Holbear.
To that end, Kepik says, if we could find necromantic texts inside the magistrate's quarters,
right,
then we would have reason to act.
Right.
That bears thinking about. Oh, excuse me.
Epic, geez.
I know, I'm allergic
to necromancy. It's
yeah.
terrible as a priest. Or really good, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
So how could we send forces to...
Has Athene been notified of these forces that you fear are in Pelka?
Fraldrum is aware. And she meets with Athene regularly. I would trust her judgment as skilled in, her arts.
It may be that I need a meeting with Athene and Fraldrum then. And we may discuss how we might at least investigate the magistrate. If we knew there were evidence, then we could act and catch at least the magistrate in the act. And even if we can't prove necromancy per se, interest in the dark arts would be enough to remove her. And again, if this temple acts, it would be as though Lady Meagral was taking charge of the situation just right under the nose of those fools down in Balabry.
Do I want to encourage Kepik down this path, though? I guess it can't hurt, right? To loop him into the bigger discussion of who these two necromancers are and what they're capable of.
I mean,
I guess one, do I trust him? Which is probably yes, because I've met with him pretty often.
Roll.
85.
He's certainly, like, you wouldn't trust him with a secret.
Right.
Like a personal secret.
Right.
But you do trust his commitment to Meagral.
Right. And as a priest, yeah.
And that means something to you. I mean, Meagral has been good to you, very good to you so far.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it makes sense then for Brise to, give him the full picture if he's going to pursue this path. So I tell him, forgive me up front for not giving you the whole story, but it seems like you're due it, at least now that this discussion's coming up, because we do know more about the necromancers. We do know there's necromancy in Pelka, and we do know that the magistrate and this elven lord are two powerful necromancers. And they're both hunting a very dark artifact. And part of questioning Enokar was to get some indirect information without hopefully endangering anyone here or there in the village.
He is aghast. Let me go find him. He's pretty angry. He's like, how long have you known? How long has the theme known?
I think literally not more than a week is when we went into Pelka, right?
Right.
Let me double check. Yeah, it was like the 14th. Yeah. What is it now? The 21st. So I say just it's been about a week since we uncovered this information.
But you've known, I'm not speaking as Kepik, but you've known about.
I've known, right. I didn't know they were hunting the artifact.
Right.
A week ago. So I'm kind of playing, I've only known about everything you're talking about for a week. I don't want to.
Well, you're answering for a theme though, right? So you haven't lied, which you don't like doing.
Yes.
Athene has only known for a week.
Yes.
Fraldrum has only known for however long, but exactly. You're going to leave yourself out of it, exactly. Because you've got the whole Volshad thing.
I've known for a couple months now, I guess. Give or take.
How long have you known Volshad was the magistrate?
That's a good question. I knew that she was when I first heard that she was in Pelka in like a tall tower in a small village. That was kind of my first guess, is like she probably has some influence here. Mm-hmm. She probably has a position of power here. I think confirmed it after talking with the tax collector, I think.
I see.
Her appearance matched that of Volshad.
I got
that was a couple days before I went to the village a week ago. So, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you're not. You're not. Your guilt does not seem to be very high. I mean, you seem to. Yeah.
It feels like a long time because we've been playing like the pace of game, right? But
right,
7 or to 12 in-game days.
Right. Yeah, I guess we ought to do. I mean, I think we should do a timeline. It would be interesting to do a timeline. This occurred then, and it's like, that would be interesting to do. Not impossible to do because it'd just be bullet notes. It'd be reading through your notes and just making bullets.
As I said, feed it to the AI. Ask it, when did I?
Yeah,
we know about this. So
right. Yeah. That would be interesting. Because we use that system in our notes. You and I, brackets indicate something that the players and game master know, but the character doesn't. Yeah. Just as a shorthand. And so we could even do things like that, because it's like it'd be interesting to know when Inukar met Volshad, right?
Right.
As this new magistrate coming to town, and because that would tell us how long Inukar has known Volshad. Right.
How many conversations she's overheard. Yeah.
Right. And that's, I've thought about that. Well, it's particularly given the type of game that Karandrin is, with it being so organic, it's more relevant to my style of play than it would be to episodic or campaign-based play. Because then I could, because they would tell me, like, if they had known each other for 2 years, well, that would give a bonus to the rolls of how many conversations she could have overheard. And but no system's perfect, and it has worked so fairly well so far. So
no, I mean, you can use the reverse, right? The dice say how long has she known her, and if it's a high number, then like, well, yeah, she has known her for a while,
right. It's just recording that information.
Yeah, that's right. Once you've rolled it, you need to keep track of it.
Right.
Yeah. That's the challenge.
So, all right. He really is having a hard time processing this.
I give him sliding glass of brandy.
That's right. I haven't finished my wine, so if you want,
more than me.
That's right.
This is my every day.
That's right. So he says, "Well, I will call this. Forgive me, but I have to go see Athene immediately."
Okay.
He rises,
should I really don't know what Fraldrum is told.
You don't know what?
What did Fraldrum tell Athene, though, about the extent of what's happening in Pelka? I don't know if I even know.
My guess is that Athene knows a lot.
Yeah.
It would seem, I mean, the way the Fraldrum operates, she, just like with you, like she took you into her trust as much as she felt safe regarding your safety to do, fairly quickly. She has a feeling about people, and in her position, she can't leave Athene high and dry. Athene, we should have said ages ago, Athene is sort of chief of staff. She's the castellan for the whole keep, and so she's sort of Meagral's right hand man, woman, and so she can't let Athene be blindsided by 2 necromancers in her backyard.
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you mean. It's just I always forget how much Athene knows about magic, right? Knows about necromancy. Is she going to overreact like Kepik does? That's my fault for kind of forgetting that about her character.
Well, keep in mind that Kepik is a priest.
True.
And that really heightens his response to, there's something unnatural to the gods going on in my backyard.
Right.
And they didn't see fit to loop me in.
Right.
So.
Right. I just don't want to lose the element of surprise in Pelka, right? If the whole keep, I guess no one will really take action until Meagral comes back, potentially.
Well, I imagine Athene has.
Athene would be the person, yeah.
Yeah, Athene probably has some free hand in matters to act on her own. The real problem is, how angry is Kepik, and what is he going to let slip among his own priests?
Sure.
Just inventing.
Yeah.
And then will that make it down to the temple in Balabry? And those priests, particularly the chief priest of that temple, we know to be very critical of Meagral's moral leadership over the county. That could cause a lot of trouble.
Okay. All that being said, I'll let him go if he needs to go.
Yeah. And, so he,
word of caution is try to keep this among to as little people as possible. Right.
He doesn't even hear you. He rushes out.
Okay.
Where to next? You're kind of left sort of flustered and uneasy.
Let's go back to my room, I think, to wait for a note from Fraldrim. We can spend some more time with Sheer Call, just relaxing.
Sheer Call's door is closed, suggesting probably a nap or bathing. No word from Fraldrim.
Okay.
Mid-afternoon now. Few hours of sun still. Low fire in the grate. You just relax, take some wine, process the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Hope, there's a part of you that's kind of tense, dreading a summons from Athene.
Yeah.
Late afternoon, Fraldrim knocks on your door. She is her typical disheveled self. Let's find her. There we go. Boom.
Please come in.
She flops herself down in front of the fire, gestures to the wine. You pour her a glass.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you tell her in her note?
I didn't really tell her anything because I have like a lot of things here.
Okay.
So
she says she's glad to see you safe.
Yes.
She approves of your friend across the hall.
Mm-hmm.
She has closed your door since you're going to be sort of talking shop.
Right.
She's interested in the whole tale, and she settles herself in her seat.
Well, I ask her probably the most pressing matter is I'm assuming caught word of the Eshel headed towards the keep. Unsure if that's something we need to worry about. The Eagles are definitely worried about it.
I just rolled the same number 3 times in a row.
There you go.
That's
I guess we win. End of stream, everybody.
That's right. End of Brise's tale. Right.
There you go. Success.
They're slow moving and would have little interest in the keep.
Okay. So that for our viewers, the Eshol is the strange spiritual snake that was spotted heading towards the keep several days away through the wilderness.
Yeah, a spirit creature that preys on other spirit creatures and the living. Fraldrim says you have nothing to worry about on that count. It's easily handled if by even one of my apprentices. I wouldn't care to face it unawares, and they can be very tricky, and they are brilliant ambushers, but they cannot penetrate the walls of this keep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one relief. The Great Eagles were concerned about it, and I will meet them and tell them this evening, their messenger, that they should not attack it. Let it go on its course, it sounds like.
They would be unable to harm it.
Mm-hmm.
And you should know that creatures from the spirit realm cannot be harmed by temple magic either.
Mm.
The magical items, items that have been enchanted, are what's required. Elemental magic also is completely ineffective. Those spells that deal with fire and ice, wind and earth, they are all of the spirit realm. Jeez, arm's hurting. And the Ashol are slow moving. They make no great marches across a valley. It is hunting. And should you encounter one, feel free to slay it. I would not want to be a furrier or a hunter out in the woods and encounter one alone. But tell me of the giants.
Okay. So I relay basically everything I told Athene. That we know that Crom has been main purpose of the meeting between Crom and this other group is for new marriages and new offspring. The other group is led by a man, a giant named Gersai, and is much larger and seems more well off. They live in mansions, apparently, instead of Crom, who has a single fortress in the mountain.
I knew that there was a clan, at least one other clan, relatively near us. I did not know the leader's name. Well, more giants is not good. But pregnancy lasts 2 years with giants. And I'd rather deal with giants the size of infants than giants the size of adults.
You can't just murder baby giants, Fraldrum.
I have giant coat hangers. I absolutely can.
That's too cruel.
I have giant Tide Pods. Shirkaw said you had many close brushes on the mountain. I'm glad to see you well.
Yeah. Lady Crom is extremely perceptive and knows many types of magic, it seems. Very, very good at being perceived or perceiving.
She's very protective of that mountain. I've had very limited success spying on her magically.
Yeah, and I say appreciate the cloaks. They very much came in handy, and I've had mine. I imagine I've had mine hung up, or returned. So,
well, your troubles were not unnoticed here. Apparently, when you were first detected, they immediately suspected my involvement. The reason I was in the neighborhood to give you those cloaks is because I was summoned to Lady Crom's court.
Wow.
She shrugs. She is an
Food was all right.
She's an insulting host, but she learned nothing. I denied, of course, knowing anything, that I had agents on the mountain or that I myself was responsible. Whether she believed me or not, she shrugs. She knows that a confrontation between my forces and hers would only be costly to us both. There's enough wealth in those mountains that remain untapped that surely she'll be content mining her gold and gems. Shirkal expressed to me your concern over the goblin slaves.
Yes.
I wish there was something we could do. Every idea I've come up with has its own unbelievable dangers.
Yes.
And I won't lie to you. One of the ideas I've had is allowing you to be caught and sending you in as an agent.
Hmm.
But we would need to think a great deal more on that. I've also thought of the great sheep that they keep in the valley north of the mountain.
Hmm.
They're quite remarkable to see. They must be twice your height at the back. They provide a majority of the clothes, milk, butter, and some meat.
Okay.
It is possible that we could use one of those animals to escape. It could carry probably 6 or 8 goblins.
Mm-hmm.
A suitable illusion could be added. But again, are we dealing with women and children in the mines? Can we keep them from crying and keep them calm?
Right.
For all my power, I feel powerless. Is there more you need to tell her? I don't want to dominate the conversation with her.
No, I do bring up this other tribe of giants led by Gursai. If there's any way to sour their alliance, if Crom was busy, distracted, having to fight another tribe of giants in the wilderness, that might even give us an opening as well.
Pit them against each other.
Mm. Have you ever seen Gulliver's Travels? We're going to need a lot of rope.
We're going to need a lot of rope. Well, I don't have rope, but I do have 100,000 miles of string cut in 6-inch lengths.
Damn it, Fraldrum, you're watching too much Monty Python.
Right. I gotta look that up. That's so great. I've only heard the audio of it. I've never seen the skit.
Really?
Yeah. It was on. I don't know if it's still running. There was a radio show that was comedy songs and skits.
Yeah.
It was Dr. Demento is what it was called. I know he's at least older now, if not completely retired. And so we stumbled across his radio show years ago when we were teenagers, and we learned a lot of really funny stuff. And oh man, the Frog and Pesh restaurant, that was so great. Do you feel like you've learned from your mistakes? Yes, I feel like I can duplicate them exactly. It's so great. That skit is it's a famous British comedian. I can't remember his name, but it's not Monty Python. But the Frog and Pesh, that's another one to look up online. It's hilarious. This is bizarre failed restaurant called the Frog and Pesh, where they serve frogs and peaches.
I say it's a combo I haven't thought of. It's really big.
I may set my apprentices when they have a moment, to seeing if we can find this other tribe of giants. It would at least be worth my time to meet with this Gersai.
Mm-hmm.
See what he's about, and no pun intended, size him up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to tell her about what you learned about the Uthnorn?
Yeah, that was the next thing.
Yeah.
So done talking about the giants, I'll mention that I did get valuable information on the nine-fingered candle. And the creature known as the Uthnorn is actually a collection of fae who are normally good-hearted creatures, but have most likely been corrupted and captured by this item. And so now they are, whenever they're released, they are malevolent and destroy anyone they're commanded to.
That is very dark news.
Right. If we were to destroy the artifact, it might free them upon the world. So there might actually be no way to, unless we find a way to uncorrupt them, which who knows if that's even possible.
Fey magic is notoriously tricky. There are means by which one sorcerer can counteract the magic of another. I won't bore you with the details, but it is an art available to us. There is no way to counteract Fey magic.
Interesting.
Their spells cannot be interrupted. Now, you can end an enchantment. You can destroy an object. Yeah. You can destroy an object that they've enchanted, for instance. You can unenchant an item. But in the actual process of casting, their magic is unstoppable in that moment. But to have thousands of angry Fae swarming our keep does not bear thinking about. I have no real contacts who are experts in the Fae.
So I tell her that I learned there is a tribe of Uthnorn, I believe nearby Pleston. And my goal is to find my way up there and at least ask them for help if they're willing to help their own kind, if they know a way to counteract this corruption.
That sounds a worthy task. Volshad is in the process of trying to get the nine-fingered candle.
Right.
You've heard no news further about whether she succeeded or not.
No, it was a week ago I'd heard that.
We need spies in Pelka. I don't know how we're to get them. If Volshad has ingratiated herself to that community, I don't know who would be willing to turn on her. Do you want to recommend the priestess?
Yeah, I'll mention that we did summon the priestess Enukar from the village for questioning, and Kepik here at the temple did manage to find out that she, though ingratiated to the magistrate. She does have some suspicions of her and the strange elf noble we know as Holver. So she could be a potential spy on our side if we can convince her of the danger her village is in.
And you want to give the name Lord Forbin, right?
Yes. By the way, Holver is also calling himself Forbin in that village.
She shakes her head and says, name means nothing to me.
Okay.
But I'll ask around. How discreet is this priestess?
She goes around in a thong, so yes. Sorry. What is discreet? Is it like, does she seem like she can hold her tongue?
Yeah.
That I do not know. I didn't ask Kepik that impression of her.
We have many irons in the fire, you and I. I don't see how we can stop or even slow Bolshad and Holver from getting the nine-fingered candle.
Mm-hmm.
We need a spy, and we need to contact the Uthnorn you believe are outside of Pleston.
Right.
Is there anything else you need to talk about before? I don't want to move to another topic.
Not for the Uthnorn. I think that was it. I will say that the Trinidas who I meet with, who told me this information about the Uthnorn, I will meet with them again on the morning of the 27th. If you have any questions for them, I'll be sure to be nearby.
They themselves have no inroads with this clan of Uthnorn?
Apparently not. What was it that they last spoke with them many years ago, I think. 20 years ago, they knew about the group. Yeah.
I may have questions for the Trinidas. I will try to have those ready for you.
Okay.
In the meantime, I will tax my mind and see if I can think of anyone who also might have expertise with the Fae. In the meantime, I want you to steer clear of Lady Crom and of Pelka.
Don't worry. Always staying here in Balabry, which, speaking about here in Balabry, did you know that Ordia's staff has been spotted around? I think I had told her that in a note before. So I just tell her about I'm trying to pursue if Ordia's back in town in Balabry or if what she might be plotting.
Oh, did you want to ask her about the blue vein?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Let's deal with Ordia, and then we'll do the blue vein, and then we'll probably have to call it.
Yeah. Conversation's taking a good. It's going to be like nighttime when we finish. We're like, well, okay, I guess we
Yeah.
long meeting. So yeah, I just mentioned that we know for sure that Ordia's acting in Balabry. I'm going to try to meet with representative tonight under the guise of, him calls himself a gem, dealer in gems. And I've managed to ingratiate myself to him.
You can tell her you're meeting at the Eternal Candle.
Yes. Yeah. I plan to.
Is that
I
the
might.
Adventuring Guild?
Yeah. It's a Venture Guild. So I say I might even stand him up and just see who he reports to follow them back to their own base.
I fear we may be stretching ourselves too thin. Give me a description of this would-be spy. I will send one of my apprentices to the Eternal Candle, and we will hire adventurers to follow and report.
There we go. I like the way you think, Fralder.
That will keep you out of harm's way in a possible ambush and leave you free once we decide how best to address the Pleston clan of Fae. We need a Fae contact in Pleston. That would be ideal. Someone who knows enough about the Fae to help you find them,
right,
and can tell us how to proceed if we meet them. I'll task my apprentices for their contacts to see who we know in Pleston and who has any knowledge of the Fae. I should have answers for you. Certainly by the morning.
Okay. Meet with Ivar. Yeah, I'll write down Ivar's description on some paper and hand it to her.
Should be easy enough. Walks with a dog on a chain.
Right.
Noticeable character.
Yeah. So finally, I'll ask her about the blue vein if she's heard of it before and knows what its uses are. If it's something, how dangerous it is.
My understanding is it's typically used in two ways in regards to wands and rods and staves. One is that you can make a mixture from it to saturate a potential wand. But its best use is to find an older hardened piece of the vine and make the item directly from that wood.
Interesting.
In both cases, it greatly improves the stave's ability with magic that deals with information. Blue vine is rare, very difficult to cultivate. And so what alchemists use it have usually very poor samples growing in their garden. To find very old, very healthy blue vein would make a very powerful item indeed. There are, for instance, enchantments on the keep that prevent people from spying on us magically. I say prevent. It attempts to resist those attempts.
Right.
A wand sufficient skill, made sufficiently skillfully out of blue vein or treated with blue vein, could thwart those defenses.
Sounds like we need some of that for Crom. Maybe I'll find it myself and then bring it back to the keep.
Right. She has a lot on her mind. You can tell she rises to go. She still has her wine glass in her hand. She hasn't thought about putting it down, Mm-hmm. There's a knock on the door as she rises. She looks to you, asking if she should open it.
And I'd say, who is it?
I'm seeking Mistress Fraldrum. Goblin voice, probably a servant. Fraldrum steps to the door and opens it. Clearly flustered and wanting to think on all these matters. What is it? She's handed a note. Servant bows and leaves. She opens the note. Closes it. Says Kepik is called for a meeting between me and Athene.
Yeah, about that.
Like you're scratching your chin when you delivered that. It was great. It's interesting. It's good luck with that.
No coincidence.
That's right.
I may have had to bring him into the discussion of Volshad and Holver to avoid him sending his own forces to investigate what's happening in Pelka.
She nods, takes it in stride. Can't be helped. We would have told him soon enough. I will go soothe Feathers. You get some rest.
I will do the same to the Eagles.
That's right. She bows, tells you she's glad you're safe. Sheer Call's door is open. She waves to Sheer Call, and off she goes. So late afternoon, a couple hours before sundown, and I think it's a good place to call it, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of interesting developments.
That's right. So we've got 170 coming up next week, a milestone episode where we wear our silly hats. That'll be terrific. The week after that, I've got company in town, and so we will be skipping that stream. So hopefully you'll join us next week where we see what Brise is up to. Thanks, everybody, for watching and hanging out with us. We always appreciate it. We really do. If you think we're doing a good job, hey, like and subscribe. If you think we're doing a great job, then hop the donor box and send us a little love. Max does a great job at his YouTube stream where he discusses his role of music and original soundtracks in video games. And thanks, as always, to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art depicting Brise. We use it almost every episode when we're not overly consumed with maps that have to take up that space. And if you're interested in a good fantasy novel, I hope I can recommend my novel, A Shore Too Far, that you can find on Amazon. Thanks, everybody, again. Max, would you say goodbye to these lovely people?
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation, the comments, the views. And yeah, we'll see you all next week for 170. Have a good night.